up, YouTube? It is Kaiju Films here, coming at you with another toy review. Today we are going to be reviewing the NECA Trespasser. Now, just a heads upper for all the kaiju fans out there for Pacific Rim. Wondering who my favorite kaiju is from Pacific Rim. It is obviously Trespasser. I think Trespasser is probably the coolest out of the kaiju, not just because of his immense size, but of, like, he just looks cool. I mean, like, look at him. Just look at this beauty. Now, I know there is a debate between whether or not he is a category, Trespasser is a category 5 or a category 1, but I personally think he's a category 5. Because comparing him to Godzilla, which is a category 7, according to Legendary and Warner Brothers, he's pretty big, so I personally think he's a category 5. So now on to the review. Let's move these out of the way. Get the blue Golden Gate Bridge out. So on to the review. So, starting off with his bio, Knifehead, or not Knifehead, he has obviously the blade, but Trespasser is the first kaiju to come out of the breach. He attacked San Francisco before getting it nuked. Now I know it said tanks, missiles, and all those other things, but it was a nuclear warhead. Because as you saw the movie, you can obviously see like a giant hole in his back, and no missile could put that big of a hole in a kaiju's back. So yeah, that's his bio. He did not get killed by Jaeger, and he's a category 5 in my opinion. On to articulation. This figure is very articulated. He has, starting up from the head, he has to be bent over. He can look up, slightly down. He has an articulated jaw. His head can move 360. You know, have the exorcism kaiju, I guess. Kind of looks like that. For his miniature arms, he can. They're tight, but they can still move. Like these can obviously move out completely. This guy's really being weird, but he can move his arms. He has the elbow joint, he has a joint up here, and the wrists can obviously move. Now for his arms, he has very articulated arms. I'm sorry. Alright, sorry about that, I had some of the problems with the legs. Now, to warn you, this leg is actually longer than this one, so you have to put him in that weird pose where one's leg's back behind the other, but it's still pretty cool. Onto the larger arms articulation, this figure can give you a hug. How awesome is that? A friggin' sharp Trespasser hug. His elbows can obviously move like this. It's really weird because his arms don't really move as well as Knifehead's. Like, if you can look at this, his arms are very, like, stiff. But what's cool about it is that you can have, like, him kind of go attack the Golden Gate Bridge. What are you looking at? And yeah, like showing us that clip over there on that one. So, to warn you on the hands, he has very, very sharp claws, so you don't want to hit anybody with this. I've had some bad experiences with his claws, and I've only had him for a day. Cut myself a little bit. Stabbed myself in the hand, if I can find the right hand. Yeah, check this out. Got like a little battle scar, and you can't really see it, but it really hurt right here. So, yeah. So onto the legs. His legs, ow, again, sharp claws, watch out. His legs can move up here, and he has a knee joint, and he can move his ankle 360. And he has a pivot, so you know, that's cool. First kaiju ankle pivot. Any kaiju with it. I think this is like the only kaiju with ankle pivot, actually. And once again, his legs is being a jerk. So yeah, that's it for articulation. Now, as for paint, this is really good paint. Like, he has very scaly paint job, like all these little squares, like a real lizard. His claws, obviously, a really dull gray. His hand is obviously painted really well, very brownish, grayish, very solid, dull, and light. His belly, a very good mixture of brown His toenails black, and his mouth, if you can actually look at this, his mouth has a very good look at it. His teeth look very good, very brown, and his eyes painted probably the best. Like, usually kaijus have 6 eyes, I don't know where the rest of his eyes went. So, yeah, looks very scary for a kaiju. So, on to sculpt. This figure is very, very, very accurate to Trespasser, very large. All of his backpacks painted well, very well sculpted. And I forgot the tail articulation. This is better than Knifehead's because it stays in place. You can move it a little bit. Cool. And then obviously you can get him to that position where he's like, roar. Where he's like, I'm Trespasser. In a Batman voice. So, yeah. Alright, on to size comparisons. So, Trespasser is a very, very, very large kaiju. Just putting it out there, so he might not compare well to other kaiju. So, here he is compared to Gypsy Danger. Here he is compared to Godzilla 1954. Here he is compared to Knifehead. Here he is compared to the Cherno Alpha Jaeger. Here he is compared to the Leatherback Monster, Kaiju. Here he is compared to the NECA Godzilla, which I recently just got. It looks really cool. He's very small though, but you know, who could care less? Alright, we're on Bandai figures now. Woo! Gamora. Golza. Red King. King Ghidorah. That guy's name who no one remembers. The baddest monster known as EX Gamora. And the sumo wrestler EX Red King, which is really shorter than regular Red King. Some Ultraman dudes that you might be a fan of Ultraman. Ultraman AT. Ultraman Taro. Ultraman 7. And obviously the weakest Ultraman of all time, Ultraman Mebius. There's Godzilla 1967. The winged version of the Hyper Zeton. Very something you should pick up. Very cool. And last, but definitely not least, the Bandai Gamera. For any Gamera and Pacific Rim fans that are out there. Alright, well, final thoughts on this figure. It's a really cool figure. You should definitely pick it up. It'll send you back about $25, although it's really cool. You can get it on Amazon, and it's about a 9 out of 10. Alright guys, this is Daikaiju Films, signing out. Take it easy, y'all.